Is a Ferrari like a sports car? I like a Ferrari. Sometimes it can be a bit of a mind fuck. I remember crying on my 21st birthday. Creation is supposed to be from a place of total freedom.
You got a sports car, we can in it. While you drive it real far, yeah, you know what this is. Yeah, you know what this is.
I mean, my team is fucking chaotic. Like, we have very ambitious shoots. We want to do everything in the world. And I'm also just like a bulldog on music. I'm just like, let's get everything done. I don't need a lunch break. Like, let's just go. Everyone's screaming at me like, whip your hair, go. It's like, it's literally chaotic. The last set of the day, and it was the tank. And we were shooting the whole thing on film, so we only had so much left. And the director, my creative director, my hairstylist, everyone be like, whip your head, dance. And then eventually, like, I dunked my head underwater, my whole wig fell off, and I was like, guys, this is literally insane.
Oh my God, you wanna waste my time. Let's go ride.
What I need in the studio, as long as I just have a person that doesn't make me feel awkward, then I can write a good song. If I have people who are open to like the worst ideas ever, I feel like I'll usually spit out good stuff. But if there's a judgy crowd or energy in the room, it's like literally one of the most dreadful processes of all time. I knew I wanted to put Sports Car out mostly because I felt like it was a big swing for me as a dancer, and I could really see that song visually. Whenever a song kind of scares you in the studio, there's some magic to it, and I was really terrified of that song for a long time. We had referenced the Yin Yang Twins, the Whisper song, and that was a bold move for a pop song. Julia Michaels, I had worked with her back when I was 16, but I was just very confused about what kind of music I wanted to make. And so it was interesting coming this time around, knowing that I wanted to make a dance song, knowing what I wanted the sonics to sound like. And so I was like, this is the beat that we need. She was like, I might sound crazy, but I think we should do a whisper chorus. I was like, Julia, that is insane. Because I also love a melodic chorus. That's really freaky. Also, I'm just like, I'm not a rapper. I'm not like, it's not just like me and an 808 like going ham on a chorus. Like, I am a pop girl. So I was like, we have to execute this perfectly for this to work. I mean, I just feel very lucky to be in the studio with such legends. Julia Michaels, Ryan Tedder, I've looked up to them for so long. And every day I get to work, I am just gaining more knowledge on music and things that I never knew. It's so interesting walking into a room with my perspective and then taking their perspective and putting it together. I think it's a really special thing. Ryan gives me advice every day. He has advice on everything in life. He's just like a man full of facts. When I started writing music when I was like 13, 14, I didn't even know what the structure of a song was. And I had self-taught piano, so I wasn't really aware of what I was doing. I was just doing it. And it's been interesting to see why a chorus feels euphoric, or if it feels like gives you that serotonin boost, it's usually because like the notes before it aren't touching it, or if the message of the song right before sets it up perfectly. There's like human instincts that connect with music that's like so interesting you would never think about, but it's been interesting to learn. I really wanted to find the contrast between a very sexy top line and a sexy melody and a really heartbreaking story. I worked with Emil Haney on the production on this, who's just a god. He's one of my favorite producers of all time, and Amy Allen. I think I was honestly just feeling a little sensitive as a girl at this time. It's not a normal thing to be perceived by that many people when you're releasing music, when you're putting yourself out there. Sometimes it can be a bit of a mind fuck. And so honestly, this song was about my relationship with me and the media. Feeling like a woman for the first time, feeling sexualized for the first time, and feeling like people weren't receiving my work how I wanted it to be received. I feel like it's once my story, and then as soon as I give it out to the world, you have to learn to detach from it, let people put it into their own lives. Otherwise, it can be a really terrifying thing, feeling like you're airing out your whole life for the world to see.
But it keep coming back like a revolving door. Said I want you less, but I just want you more.
I just had this reoccurring theme that was going on in my life. Thinking the same thoughts, making the same choices, going back to the same people. My life just kind of felt like this like never-ending revolving door. And a lot of the imagery for this album was like a never-ending road, a never-ending door, because I felt like I was sometimes just like going towards something where I could never see a finish line. It was a really fun song to play with because I realized it was not only about a relationship, but it was also about me and my inability to make decisions and me chasing this career that I was like, oh my God, what do I want out of this? And so you can kind of see in the bridge of the song, it goes from like a relationship song to like a fully introspective song about my personality and how I literally just can't make my mind up. Well, I'm a Cancer, so.
Daddy went to law school and could have been an architect. Now he's turned 60 and wonders where the big dream went.
Well, I have a song called Nostalgia on the record, and it closes out the album. It honestly stemmed from a conversation I had with my dad, and I think I was in Barcelona with him. My mom and dad had like flown out on tour to see me, and I was doing all these like rapid fire questions with them. I'm like, what's your biggest regret? What do you wish you did in your life? All my deep, like annoying questions. And I remember asking my dad, do you regret anything in your life? And he was just like, well, I wish I would have been an architect in my life. And I was like, that's so crazy that someone could like go their whole life wishing to do something and like not do it. And we had this whole long conversation about how, you know, like that's the reason why he raised me how he raised me, was to be like, you can't miss out on things in life. You gotta do what you're passionate about and do what feels authentic. Otherwise you feel like life kind of passes you by sometimes.
He said, don't lie, girl, you looking sexy on a magazine, but what you doing after the photos?
I think in this career, in this lifestyle, it can feel like you're sometimes working towards nothing and everything. Constantly going and going and going and trying to find a reason. The reason is the moments you make in the meantime, in the process of it all. You realize that you like never ever hit that point. It just like always keeps going up. Touches on how I felt about turning 21 and the feeling of being heartbroken and falling in love again, dealing with relationships. As a 21-year-old, you're also like freshly an adult, but also you're like still young, but you in your head you feel like you're like the oldest person on earth. And that's how I've just like felt a lot. I was like, oh my God, like I should have everything figured out by this age. This is my time. You also feel like you're like 1 year old too, because you're like, holy shit, I just started living a life alone. I remember crying on my 21st birthday. Mostly because I feel like as a young girl, you picture 21 as like the year where you would watch your idols. You're like, oh, they're 21 and they're prime and they're like doing their thing and they've got it all figured out. I got to 21 and I was like, oh, this feels a little, this feels a little different than I thought it would.
I'm okay, and I'm in the first place. It's okay, I'm okay.
I'm really excited for this tour. Obviously, I feel like I'm just hitting the surface of what I want to do dance-wise and performance-wise. And I think there's some really deep and dark messages behind a lot of my songs that I want to crack a little, that sounded weird, that I want to like open up a little further, and really work with my choreographers and my creative directors and try to figure out a message for everything and make it feel like a full story.
Don't